No, this.
I think the cloud space is anyway full. Yesterday's class, it wasn't recording. Yes, ma'am, we've started the recording. Good
Great.
morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Taking time for us today, and thank you everyone for attending the session today. I would request my friend Karpagam to briefly introduce Jasprit ma'am to the audience.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, all. First of all, a big thank you for Jasprit ma'am and Joshua sir for taking your time out in spite of having the exams just starting tomorrow. I know your busy schedule. Thank you for that. And for all of us to have a little insight about ma'am. Ma'am is the principal of Amrit Mosaic School, which is in Noida. And she has like a vast experience of like almost 20 plus years as a in the special education, and she herself is a neurodivergent parent too. I mean, a parent of a neurodivergent, beautiful young girl, actually. Okay, so she's also a parent professional as well as a very very avid NIOS advocate as well, and she is here to kind of take us through the entire NIOS process and mainly focusing on the kind of misinformation which is leading us in a different ways. So she will definitely address each one of our questions too. I would request all the parents to just like people who are in the webinar, we'll just listen to her over the presentation. Hi. Uh, and then we can have the questions in the last. And in between, if whatever questions you get, please put us in the chat box. Then probably we can address it later also. And I would definitely have a extend my thank you to Joshua sir. I know from Jasmeet ma'am, he is the pillar of whatever you're doing, and it's a very strong support. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking your valuable time. Here you go, ma'am. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is the other pillar, and she will not leave till she meets you. So,
I will.
Hi.
no, you don't have to go read the book. So, everybody, this is Ekam Kaur.
Who's
Uh,
that everybody?
Everybody, I don't know everybody's name. So, this ma'am I know, her name is Vali.
Huh?
Okay,
Vali?
so why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi,
you-
hi.
I'm 2012, that 12
Oh, wow. Okay.
From
from
which book?
NIOS.
Okay. Why are you sounding so hoarse, Ekam, right
Because I
now?
have a cold.
Yeah, because she has a major cold and cough and a bit of a fever also, right?
Oh,
No
Okay.
fever?
No.
Okay. What are we taking for cold and cough? Do you want to take some medicine?
Yeah.
What is it that you're taking? Are we eating crocin or are we taking some liquid syrups and all? What are we?
Liquid syrup.
You want some more?
Yes.
What is it that you drank just now? That
I
yellow
had turmeric milk.
So she said turmeric milk. We can barely hear her right now.
Mm.
Want to
great.
stay or want to go read your book?
Good. We will.
Okay. So, but if you
Get
want
well
to stay, you
soon,
can.
Ekam. Okay, get well soon.
Thank you so much.
We all pray for you. Yes, welcome.
Thank
Vicky.
you. Okay. So, now I can go. Basically, this is Ekam. This is the motivation that brought me to this, beautiful setup that didn't know about earlier.
Thank you.
So,
Big thank you to her also.
she altered my life. I was living earlier. Now I'm alive. In fact, I met a parent yesterday. No, somebody called, some doctor. And when I told him I'm a, parent professional, this guy, you haven't heard this. He tells me, I went to 2, 3 schools. So why are, all the principals parent professionals? I said, that's a good thing, no?
Hmm.
No, why is it only women? So, I asked him when we give medicine to our children. I was giving medicine to at the point when he came. I said, whenever we give medicine, the parents usually taste it before they give it the first time. They do that? Yeah, they do that. I said, who does that? The mother or the father? The mother does it. I said, so when, that's it. They were born with a medical condition. And the only way to solve it it wasn't temporary. It was going to take a very long time. So yes, if they have a fever or if your child is born with jaundice, you'll take them to the hospital and it'll be done in a couple of days. You don't need to read and learn about jaundice, but you'll still read about it. In this case, it's going to take a very long time. So might as well learn all you can about it. That was in fact one of the reasons that Sanjay, I'll take something else. Sandhya ma'am's also joining. Good, great. No, the most beautiful bureaucrat I've ever met. So basically, I was at a stage in my life where I had done a lot of stuff with Ekam that people had been pointing me towards. I'd been meeting some very, very good people I was very lucky. I consider myself very lucky. I was very open to suggestions. That was one of the reasons. So I got a lot of suggestions and I followed them to the hilt. Ekam was going to a very good inclusive school, very good and very expensive. It was good because in my mind, it was good because it was very expensive. So she was going to a very good school where I was told that, about the age of 12, that she's uneducable. I'd been working with her since she has a lot of physical issues. She has two genetic syndromes, so the combination of two syndromes. The only known case in the world with that combination. She was born, so she's had brain surgery when she was 5 months old, without anesthesia. My body was holding her body down while she had that surgery, which basically means that she has been used to pain and, challenges from the very beginning. So she's somebody who at the beginning I was told she would not speak at all. You just heard her speak. I kind of have to tell her every night at 10, I'm done. Please give me some time. She's a chatterbox. She would never walk. She's a very good athlete. At 12, she was supposed to be uneducable. She's done 12th. And without a scribe, without extra time, you know, she's teaching home science in our school. My teachers tell me that she exactly copies my tone of voice and the examples that I taught her with. So, yes, it's kind of a miracle case. All of us are. We're all unique and all miracles. But in her case, there were several small steps that I took for her to reach this point. But I'd exhausted all my steps by the time she was 12. I took a lot of risks. Her surgery itself was out of the box. It had never been done in India and all. So there were several risks and several small steps which had got exhausted at 12. So at 12, when I went looking, I was open to looking. That is the very, very important, as a senior parent, a very important advice that I would give anybody who's here. Be open to looking. I was looking, but I was very open to suggestions. That's when I met this angel, Dr. Sandhya Kumar. She altered my life. She altered my daughter's life. It's because of her that I've been, impacting a lot of lives for the last almost 10 years. So she introduced me to NIOS. I'm a very, very avid supporter of NIOS. The primary thing that NIOS brings to my and a lot of other neurodivergent people's lives, primary thing is a curriculum. You and I had books. It was a basic thing. No, we hated them at point. We loved them at points. But we never questioned the existence of books in our life, did we? My daughter was not being given books by anybody. I wanted to teach her. I went to everybody telling them, tell me what to. I've done the usual stuff. When she was done with addition, I taught her subtraction. Not making much sense to me. Beyond that, I didn't know what to do, and nobody was telling me what to do. That's where NIS steps in. So the primary thing that NIS brings to our children is normalcy. You have a bag, you carry books in the bag. You study from the books. Very close to the exams, you make a timetable. You study the previous year question papers. Isn't that a very normal thing to do? It's completely missing from our children's lives. And it's not just this normalcy. The normalcy in one area brought a cascading effect into every other area of Ekam's life. So I'm just a parent who's going to tell you the mistakes I made and how NIS benefited me. That's all I do in my school also. I'm basically a chemistry person. Joshua sir is a vice president in HCL. And what we do is tell people our mistakes. Don't make them. And we'll show you a bit of the way also. So I'll start my presentation. As always, it's a bit long. So hopefully, we'll go through it quickly. And then the functional way of it would be to address your questions.
Sure.
So there's one other thing here that I often feel.
Say 1 minute, ma'am. Some people are continuously joining, so I think is somebody admitting them, or should I continue to do that?
I am admitting them.
Okay, you're admitting.
Sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes.
Then I will-
Yeah, thank you.
So two things I'd like to say before I start. One, everything I'm going to say today is in the NIOS academic prospectus. I'm hopefully not going to say anything, not a single word out of the prospectus. Second, whatever I'm saying here, I think over the years has been validated by Sandhya ma'am. So, I really hope, well, that's the only endeavor I would have today, primary one. I don't give you any of my advices. Nothing I say here is, my interpretation of what NIOS does. I'm simply going to tell you what the prospectus says. Because that is the biggest problem right now, people's interpretations. I don't know why we need to interpret. One other thing, that's something that's completely baffling me. If you don't know something, you just have to pick up the phone, call a friend and ask. Or you have to open the NIS, you simply have to type NIS academic prospectus. I think, I really hope that I'm not one of those people who says anything at all that is out of the way. Okay, so this is I'm the principal of Amrit Masonic Special School. Volunteer, I might add. Yes, I do everything there, but the school is my way of giving back to society what I got in loads. Very small aside. Akam's journey at AIMS, her surgery and everything has happened at AIMS, started with a rickshaw wala guy. I was taking her for a vaccination. It started raining. I held the umbrella over the rickshaw wala. So he probably thought that this woman was approachable. Again and again, I'm saying I've always been approachable. I've always been open to suggestions. And after dropping us, he came back with a slip of paper saying that my nephew has a similar head condition. Your daughter looks like a monster. She has a huge head. My nephew had a similar thing, and his surgery was performed at Bangalore, Satya Sai Hospital. That started me the journey, where I thought the doctors had told me they'd given up on her. I had nobody telling me I could not. So, yes, we can listen and learn. This is my way of giving back to society, which I got in loads. Okay, so we're doing this today. We are based in Noida. That is the biggest asset we have is we're based in Noida because the NIS head office is in Noida. It is just 5 kilometers from our house. So anybody approaching us with any problem, you, along with Sandhya ma'am, you have some very, very nice bureaucrats there. Very empathetic, very diligent, very dedicated people. So at times, I can simply send a message and the problem of somebody sitting in Pune gets solved. And if I'm not able to do that, it's close enough for me and Joshua to, ride across and get it sorted. So one of the nicest things about us is that we're based in Noida. Okay, so very, very quickly, I'm showing the slide just to tell you that hopefully everything I say is going to be authentic. We've been doing it for 15 years now. So we've already had 10 batches of OBE. So I don't need to explain this. All the webinars we've done have been with Sandhya ma'am. The one thing I was very clear about was that there was already enough misinformation. I didn't want to add to that. So this is it. We've done 8 batches of secondary, 4 batches of senior secondary. We take classes. I'll show you my books. But that I think is the primary area where we come in now. We've brought NIOS. I think we were one of the people instrumental in, sort of bringing NIOS to the grassroots level. During the COVID period, through our webinars, due to Sandhya ma'am. But I think the way we're taking it forward is with our books now. Okay, so this is us. We have a physical as well as a virtual school. You're going to be getting the slides. You can go through these at leisure. But the primary thing I wanted to show you here is that we are a virtual school also. And anybody here can become a virtual school also. Because that is the best thing. COVID was a horrible, horrible time for all of us. But one of the good things it did was bring everybody closer. No, the world became virtual. So that is, I think, so we are virtual. We have, obviously, as you can see, OTPT, we are an NIS affiliated center. That's a highlight us now. Why is that a highlight? Not because, we get to admit more students. We are a charitable place. We don't need too many students. But we are an NIS accredited center. And why is that important is because now I get to regulate the material, the study material that my students study. That is the only reason we wanted to become a NIS affiliated center. Okay, so not going down. And okay. This slide should take the maximum time. I think I've kind of encapsulated kind of everything here. National Institute of Open Schooling. It's recognized, government recognized board for distance education for school education. The way I explain to people who come to me is, हम लोग B.Ed करते हैं. You know, everybody knows B.Ed, doing B.Ed by distance mode. This is the same thing, school education by distance mode. So we have several state boards in India for distance education. The national level board for distance education is NIOS. I'll show you the recognitions and all very soon.
I'll just please request that, there are people joining in. So if you could just please keep watching over, that will be helpful. Otherwise, I will have to come in between the presentation. Sorry. So, thanks.
Yeah, so she can do that. You're a co-host, right?
She's a co-host.
You're getting the messages of admit and all?
Yes, ma'am. I'll
Okay.
take care of it. Thank you.
So
Carry on.
there will be several things here which, they're probably not there. That's how I explain INIS to people. I want to explain it to you. Forget the slide here. We all went to CBSE schools or ICSE schools. Okay. There are two ways we did. Till 9th, all the schools of CBSE have their own curriculum. Yes, there's a national curriculum framework that says you have to use NCERT books or these books. But till 9th, every school has NCERT books only in a few subjects. Everybody uses their own publications. A child studying in DPS school cannot go and take his exams in Amity International. They study in their school. They study what with the same book. The teacher might be teaching differently. They study what the teacher has taught them. They give the exams. They go on to the next level. At 10th, the books become national and the question papers become national. In fact, at 10th, the student of DPS cannot take exams in a school. He will have to take exams in some other schools. That's it. That's NIOS. So the only difference is CBSE assesses you at 12 points, 1 to 12th class. NIS assesses you at 5 points, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 10th, and 12th. So till 8th, any NIOS school that you might join, they will have their own curriculum. The teachers will teach you differently. You'll study their curriculum, you'll give their exams. 10th and 12th, you will study the NIS books, you will give the NIS national exams, public exams. That's it. Now, all at the 5 different levels where we're doing NIS, where NIS assesses you, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 10th, and 12th, every one of these levels is valid for 5 years. Joshua, can I use a pen here? Annotate will work.
Okay.
No, that's okay. The pen's here, but okay, there it is. Okay. Like Karpavali very rightly said, my pillar of strength. You might be doing everything, but just knowing that if you fall down, there's somebody behind you who might pick you up. Ekam brought me. I met Sandhya ma'am, Joshua sir. I've met gods every day. So just be open to God being there and miracles will happen. So every level is valid for 5 years. Though I have yet to meet anybody who took this long. But yes, NIS the target was not special children anyway. Neurodivergence was not the target. The target is social dropouts. And with social dropouts, which is another big area that I and Joshua cater to in our afternoon time, it's a very regular affair with them. My father's unwell. I need to drop out for 2 years. So that's where, this 5 years comes in handy. Otherwise, for special needs children, you never need to take 5 years at any level. There's a minimum age, there is no upper age. When Ekam took her exam, there was an 80-year-old gentleman taking secondary with her.
50-year-old girl.
80 tha yaar.
80, okay.
There was a gentleman who was 80 years old. Credit accumulation, very important point. At different levels, you need to clear different number of subjects. We'll come to that in a minute. But you don't need to clear them in one go. For example, OBE, the exams are annual. 3rd, 5th, and 8th, the exams are annual. 1 exam a year. You can do 3 exams, 3 subjects in 1 year, and the next 2 subjects next year. The certificate will be issued only after you've cleared your 5 subjects. You can take any subject combination. I wish it was there. When I did I wanted to become a doc, so I took PCB subjects. I really, really wanted to study painting. Nobody let me. If NIS was there, I could have studied painting along with this. You can change or add subjects at any time during the course of your study. You started studying home science, but you realize that your son is not very, he's not taking it very well. Change it. So, it's absolutely open. absolutely flexible. In fact, CBSE is waking up to this thing now. They're actually implementing, and that's what NEP says. NEP is saying make education flexible. NIS has been flexible since 95. Vocational subjects can be included. I don't think this is needed here a lot, but very quickly, NIS has more than 103 vocational courses, from mobile repair to who are these radiologists? They have a course on radiology. So, the wonderful courses that are recognized in the market. But yes, if a social, underprivileged child feels that I'm doing 12th, but I'd much rather be prepared for my mobile repair career after this, he can take the mobile repair course along with his 12th. So he's finishing his schooling certification, which is very important to be employable in India. But along with that, he's also, making himself career worthy. You can transfer from any board to NIOS. So now you finished your 12th, but you don't like your maths marks because you want to further your career in maths. So you can join NIOS and just, improve your marks there. When you do that, you can in fact, or there's a stream too. I'll talk about it very briefly. If you've not cleared your secondary or senior secondary in some other board, you can come to NIS that same year. And within the year finishes, the same academic year, you can get your certification through NIS. And while you're doing that, you can also transfer the marks of two of your better subjects from the other course. Exams are considered every 6 months. Okay, so this we'll talk about later. This can be very confusing. Please don't read this. At OBE level, you have annual exams. You do not have exams twice a year. But for 10th and 12th, yes, there are exams twice a year, which CBS is going to be implementing from this year. And there is something called on-demand exams. One of our students in secondary, despite repeated reminders, I don't know what happened. His father forgot to pay the exam fees in January. He wanted to take his exams in April, the coming exams. So yesterday he's like, ma'am, won't I be able to give exams? Of course you will be able to. There's something called on-demand exams, which happen every month, which happen most of the months of the year, whereby if you've not for some reason been able to apply to, can I go back up? You've not been able to give your public exams. So, okay, very quickly, public exams happen in April and October. For some reason, you were unwell or you didn't pay the fees or for n number of reasons, you're not being able to take the exam in April. Then you can say that, so May, June, April, May, June, May and June. See, okay, so then you can take exams, on-demand exams, in the intervening months also. So April and May, the public exam is happening. October, November, the public exam is happening. The months in between, you can take on-demand exams. So, multiple attempts you get. Okay, just 1 minute. So this is changed. Where is clear all? Okay. Yeah. Ma'am, this is a very, very commonly asked question. I think it's one of your questions also. It's a national board. In fact, there are only 3 national boards in India. Primarily 2, NIOS, CBSE, and ICSE. We have just 3 national boards. So it's not just something that's in the prospectus. I've seen it happen over the last 15 years. Our students have been going back and forth between CBSE and NIOS regularly. A lot of our students have taken admission in a lot of colleges in India. JEE, Kota, where you take the JEE entrance exam for engineering. Kota is the hub of it, where all those suicides happen. NIS has a whole lot of centers there. Musicians, sports people who cannot cannot give enough time to their studies, would like to do something other than studies, they join NIOS because NIOS will give them flexibility of taking the exams at their own pace. So if the match is coming up this year, he can take his exams in October. CBSE will not let him do that. So it is a national board. There is complete parity with other boards as well as at college level. The curriculum parity with CBSE, I'll explain in a while. Same, the index is the same. So 10th and 12th, what a CBSE student will study, the same topics will be studied by an NIS student. I've been doing this. So what I'm telling you is what's in the prospectus, as well as what we've seen happening over the last 15 years. Trust me, every word I'm saying, none of it is a translation of, my own translation. It's exactly what is there in the prospectus and what I've been doing. These are the courses at NIOS. OB, like I said, 3rd, 5th, and 8th, we'll discuss here. Okay, let's do this right now. Sorry. So this is OB that you kind of, I think, focusing on today. Open basic education, 3 levels of assessment, 3rd, 5th, and 8th. They call A, B, and C. Now, what does this mean actually? NIS basically tells you that when you take your level A exams, class 3, they expect you to know the curriculum of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. They're not saying that don't do the intervening years. They're simply saying that you take your exams only for these 3. So when you give your 3rd exams, they're expecting you to know the curriculum of all 3 years. At level B, they expect you to know the curriculum of 4th and 5th. What curriculum? National Curriculum Framework, no? Everybody in India has to follow that. State boards, all national boards have to follow. At level C, class 8, they're expecting you to know the curriculum of 7 and 8. There is no 9th and 11th also, like I'm sure everybody knows, secondary and senior secondary. At secondary level, when you take your secondary exams, till very recently, I'll come to that later, you were being assessed for, you are assessed for your knowledge of 9th and 10th standard curriculum. So it's not that they're saying don't study the intervening years. They're just testing you at 5 levels. That is OB, secondary, senior secondary, and vocational, like I discussed earlier. If you go through the vocational list of courses, it's incredible. Anything that you might want to study for all stratas of all economic backgrounds. For everybody, very beautiful courses. Okay, sorry. Okay. We could come back to any of these slides anybody wants, okay? So just going further. This didn't happen earlier, no? Streams, very, very quickly. When you enter NIOS, you are allowed to enter it at 5 different points. At 5 different points. That's it. That nothing more complicated. Streams and blocks are 2 words that confuse a lot of people. Nothing confusing at all. NIS will let you enter into the system at 5 different points in 5 different ways. So the only thing that is applicable to everybody here is stream 1 and stream 5. Okay, stream 1 is secondary and senior secondary. And stream 1, sorry, and stream 5 is OB. So agar aap OB mein admission le rahe ho, sorry, I think it's primarily English speaking audience here, right? I don't need to translate to Hindi. Yeah, okay. So if you want to take admission in OB, when you open the admission form, you simply immediately choose stream 5. That's all they're saying. It's for your own facilitation. Stream 2 is for candidates who were not able to clear earlier. Okay, so let's say in May your result has come and you've not cleared your secondary. You take admission in stream 2, and that year itself, October, through NIOS, you clear secondary. Okay, stream 3 and 4 is on demand. I told you a beautiful concept, which even CBSE doesn't have. So for any reason you were not able to take your final exams, you can. So basically, they say that whenever you think you're ready, take the exam. If you think I need not wait till April and in Jan I'm ready for home science, take your exam in home science. I don't think this kind of flexibility is available. By the way, NIS is the biggest national board. So several countries have, open education systems. NIS is the biggest open education system in the world, Indian NIOS. So different study centers, again, terms that you might have heard a lot. Sorry, I think we'll need to go back to block also. I'm sorry, I forgot the block part. Block is nothing. The April exam, the number of questions I get, ma'am, which block? What is block? The April exam is called block and the October exam is called block 1 and block 2, sorry. That's it, nothing more to it. Okay, so these are some other words you would hear regularly. We are an NIS affiliated center for OB only. So we are an AA. Amrit Masonic Special School is an AA. Our secondary and senior secondary schools go to a center called Amar Jyoti Center, who also have permission for secondary and senior secondary. They are an AI. That's it. A center where you take exams for OB is an AA, and a center where you take exams for senior secondary is an AI. AVI is where you'll go for your vocational courses. A very important factor that we need to know is the last one, SAID. Special Accredited Institute for Education of Disabled. It used to be disadvantaged till a couple of years ago. It's now been made disabled. I would advise all of you that this is only for secondary and senior secondary. You do not have SAGE centers at OBE level. But for secondary and senior secondary, for every neurodivergent parent, we are neurodivergent parents. I think differently now. I have a younger daughter who's neurotypical. I don't relate to her. I'm a neurodivergent parent. So for all neurodivergent parents, please, when you're choosing your study center, when you fill the form, one of the mandatory things you'll have to do is choose a center where you will be taking your exams. Try and look for a SAGE center rather than a regular AI. There also, of course, if there's no SAGE center, you can choose any AI, but the staff will not be as empathetic as a SAGE center will be. Now, ma'am, primarily at OBE, I think this is something that most people know. Very simple, 3 levels where they're assessing you for class 3rd, class 5th, and class 8th preparation. Minimum years, you only have a minimum year, 7, 9, and 12. Another thing confused, I don't know, this seems to be confusing for a few people. 31st March of that year. So our center is going to be hosting our first. We became a center last year only. We're going to be hosting our first final exams, like ma'am said, this week. This session will close. OB session will close. The next session will start from, have you put it here, Joshua? Okay, it's further also. From 1st April to September 15th, you'll have admissions. So anybody who will want to take admission in April, by 31st March, should have become 7, 9, or 12. Very simply. Okay. For secondary, you have to be minimum 14 years. And for senior secondary, you have to be minimum 15 years. So this is, we're keeping it very simple here by saying 31st January. No, it's okay. 24 hona chahiye. Yes, ma'am, this definitely is wrong. This should be 24. Wo bhi 24 hona chahiye, but that's not what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah. So let's not go to this. You have this information. You keep it handy. This is very confusing for people. We'll come to it later. Okay, but there is no confusion there actually. It's very simple, but people seem to be confused by this. I'll come to this later. Okay. This is how you apply to NIS. The primary reason I'm putting it here is lots and lots of malpractices are happening around this. It used to be a lot more huge before COVID actually. COVID brought in so many webinars and so much of virtual stuff happening that the information has gone across to several parts of India, but you still need to know. It's a very, very simple online form that Joshua sir fills in about 5 minutes. You might take 15 minutes for it. But it's a very self-explanatory online form. The admission can be done only online. The charges are minimal. For OB, they're very, very minimal, 350, 550, and 850. At secondary and senior secondary level also, there are a lot of combinations and permutations. For girls, there'll be subsidy. For disabled children, there'll be subsidy. But it'll always be between 1,500 and 3,000. So a lot of people will go to centers for admission. Ma'am, the reason I'm not putting it all here is because it is so clearly mentioned in the NIS prospectus. Okay, so you just have to flip the pages, invest half an hour in the prospectus. This is the link, ma'am.
For how to do the admission.
This is the link for admission. But we can actually open up, or at the end of it, we can open up the website also. So please tell all your parents, please send this message that do not pay 7,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 for the admissions. It's very simple. Please reach out to us if there's any problem. But yes, you can do it very easily yourself also. Okay. I think this also, once you start filling, you'll know. Yes, before you start, please keep 2 things you should do. As a parent, I'll suggest. Before starting the form, there's a separate link to find out the study centers in your area. What will happen is when you start filling the form, you'll fill in your correspondence address and permanent address. Based on your correspondence address, the system will offer you several study centers in your vicinity. Don't choose one. We're going to come to that in the next slide. That is the most important factor that will determine the success and failure of your students' NIOS journey. Selection of the study center. So I always suggest before starting filling in the forms, please go through the study centers, talk to them, meet them. We'll come to that in the next slide. Secondly, please have an email. And now here I'm talking about because we interact with a lot of underprivileged children. Make sure the email ID and phone number is one that you use regularly. You know, the number of cases where somebody has lost their email ID, they don't remember it, or the mobile number has been changed, please don't do that. Because one, the first step of admission is you'll fill in your mail ID and mobile number, and you'll get 2 OTPs. That is the first security check that lets you go forward. But above and beyond that, all your notifications, all your communication will happen on this email ID and mobile number through SMS or mails. So please be very sure if you're filling in for somebody that, do we need to do that? One mobile number can be used for 3 children. The email ID has to be individual. Yeah, that's not needed. Last point, very important for you people, disability certificate from a government institute. I'm sure everybody knows about the UDID card now. I don't know, there seems to be a major problem around UDID cards also. It isn't. The form is very simple. It's a 1-minute form. You know, all you need to be is proactive. Fill in the UDID form. At the last line of the receipt, it'll tell you which government hospital which government hospital will call you. That's the only thing you have to do. Don't wait for the call. Just go to the government hospital yourself, show the receipt, and UDID card gets done in a month, even lesser time. So now that we have UDID cards, the confusion around disability certificates has lifted. But yes, see, here also I'll tell you something. Very common question. Disability certificate is not really needed for admission. It is primarily needed when you take your exams, when you will ask for provisions. So yes, if you do not put in a disability certificate, you will not get your subsidies in the examination fees. You will also not get a SAID center. But for parents here, it's a hack we've been doing. We are masters of hacks, basically. I told you, we tell you our mistakes. Again, if it's going to take a long time, if for some reason, right now you're not being able to initiate the process, please take admission as a normal student, initiate the UDID process, and later through e-services, you can go and change your status from a regular student to a disabled student. You can also change your study centers. Now, what I just said, if you go to the NIS head office, I will say I didn't say this. It's a hack, okay, that we do. But yes, if the child is ready for academic journey and the UDID for some reason or the disability certificate for some reason is taking time, you can take this path also. Take admission as a regular student and do the changes later. Because the disability certificate is primarily going to be needed when you take your exams a year later. Okay, when you're going to ask for provisions, you will not get any provision without the DC or the UDID card. Okay, these are the exam relaxations. Very, again, everybody knows you get extra time. You get a scribe. Amanuensis means a scribe. This is something that I don't know, very, regrettably or I'm proud of it or not proud of it. This is something that, I initiated. Our group here initiated. During COVID period, we started asking, very actively started asking that can parents be used? So yes, it is a feature that is being misused, but yes, this is also one feature that is bringing a lot of neurodivergent children into the mainstream. Parents are being allowed to scribe for the children now. This year's notification has not come. I'm really hopeful it will, but it has not come yet. Now, this is for secondary, senior secondary, OB, all 3 of them. A very major difference here. Please listen. Like I said, for OBE, you're going to be choosing going to an AA. We are an AA. You brought your child to me. You're allowed to use only my curriculum. You'll have to take the exams that I set. You cannot take anybody else's exam. Because the certificate that you will get at the end of the year will be a joint certificate between NIS and me. Me, of course, everybody gets it. It's not me. I'm not talking about me. It's a hypothetical me here. So, if you want to scribe for a child with me, you fill in the requisite forms and you give them to me. But for secondary and senior secondary, you fill up the forms. There is no me there, no? It's a national level books. The books are common. The exams are common all over the country. So you
Right off only.
forms. You submit the forms at your regional center. Then you do not go to your study center. Your study center has minimal role to play. In OBE, the study center is 99% of the role. And at 10th and 12th, I don't think we have even 1% of role. All we do is conduct practicals and PCPs. Everything else is done by the head office, by the regional center. I'm very sorry. Everything else is done by the regional center. So you submit your forms there. You can bring your own computer devices. For everything you have to give in form. You have to give in applications. Applications, if done properly, are accepted. If you go with half-baked applications, the center will trouble you. They're not troubling you. They're just saying, please don't make the work more difficult for us. The norms are very clearly mentioned on the website. You have to download the form. You have to fill it up. You have to take it to them. Yeah, there's a link here, ma'am. This is the link to all the provisions that are given. The different forms you'll have to fill. I am going to point out a problem that a lot of people face, which is a genuine problem. The forms being accepted for 10th and 12th. At different regional centers, there is a bit of a disparity there. I think NIS is working on it. But as of now, for example, the forms accepted at NIOS regional center, at the Delhi regional center, are different from the forms that are asked for at the Bangalore regional center. But not unsurmountable problems that can be easily handled. Okay, ma'am, this slide also is self-explanatory. I think, once you get to the point, we can explain it to you. Why NIS for neurodivergent students? Okay, do you see this message on the side? I got it a few days back. In fact, I had no plans of putting it in. Read the message. What does the message say? Thank you for the books. There was a very beautiful video with it. This child is in level B, so he's 9 years old, autistic. I don't know severely or whatever, but he's on the spectrum. And in the peak of winters, caps and everything, he's sitting in a quilt and reading his EVS book. That is what I'm talking about. Something that we took absolutely for granted. We never thought the bag that we were carrying to school was a luxury. I didn't know that. That is the biggest luxury my daughter wanted, and nobody was giving it to her. So I'm really, really glad. NIOS showed me the path, and now I've written the books for levels A, B, and C. Written the books, meaning I just took the topics, and I would sit at night and start typing the way I had taken those topics. Joshua downloaded some pictures from the net. We put it all together, and we now have books for levels A, B, and C, which in my opinion, over the last 1 year, I've realized are pretty decent, if I say so myself. And they really help you get to 10th very easily. The books of levels A, B, and C should be in a manner that prepare you for 10th. Isn't that what you and I did? When we were studying for 5th, we weren't going to get a certificate there. We were basically making our way towards 10th, no? That is exactly what NIS says we should do, and that is exactly what we are doing. The most important thing that NIS brought to my daughter's life and my students' lives is structured, sequential, and finite curriculum. Ye karna hai. These 6 chapters, or rather these 3 chapters, are going to come in your exam. This is your bag. These are your books. Student life experience, very important. It's a distance education board. You can traverse it 2 ways. You can join a school that teaches NIOS, or several mainstream schools. Since we became a center, we went to several mainstream schools in Noida, and over the NCR, we gave them our books, and we simply told them that keep the students in your school. Enroll them with our center. Distance mode. And in the class, when you do not know what to do with them, when you include our students in your mainstream classes, and the teacher, despite her best intentions, does not know what to do with them, use our books. Because our books have the same topics that you're still in a studying. My 3rd level EVS book will have the same topics that the CBSE 3rd books has. So your teacher doesn't have to modify. She doesn't have to, work at night. She just has to take out this book for this particular child. And I think we have facilitated inclusion in a lot of mainstream schools in the NCR region and across India. We have an online program. So I think we have more students across India than we have in NCR. So that is where OB can be brought in. It is a distance education, yes. But so let's say your child is not going to an NIO school. He's not going to a mainstream school. Still, he has books. and he will go to some place for exams. So student life experience. I chose NIS only and only for one thing, ongoing mental stimulation. That's all I needed for Ekam. Uske saath certification ho gaya, that was wonderful. But when I started the journey, I was not looking for certification, because when Ekam started her journey, there were not jobs for neurodivergence in India. Today, our children are more employable than neurotypical children. They have to say, I want a job in this place. My younger daughter is studying, would like to become a doctor. She's taking a NEET this year. And she, keeps crying. AIMS will not take me whatever I do. But Ekam only has to say, my elder one only has to say, I want to come to AIMS, and they'll be, okay, please come. In the Safdarjung Hospital in Delhi, you all must have heard, in the OPD, Gynec OPD department, there's a Down syndrome doctor. So our children are employable. They need 10th and 12th. NIS will give you 10th and 12th. Okay, social acceptability, secondary and senior secondary certification, positive self-image. Many years ago, we have a student named Yash. He came to me one day. So, of course, they're not able to express their experiences. You have to drag it out of them. When I finally was, able to find out why he was so happy. You know why he was so happy? He'd gone to his brother's birthday party, brother's friend's birthday party. And there, when everybody asked him what you do, he'd said, I'm in 5th class. And he said, everybody, कल मुझे पहली बार सबने खिलाया अपने साथ. Because he said, I'm in the 5th standard. I've seen it happen with my daughter. Trust me, it's very important. Employability, of course, you've spoken about. Now, when we come to the main thing here, I think beyond this, I've covered almost everything already. Of course, you have 4 kinds of courses in NIMS, but these are the ones that we deal with the most. So 2 basic parts, OBE and academic. OBE, we've already done this earlier, 3rd, 5th, and 8th. The further information that you have here is, at level A and B, you need to clear 4 subjects. At level C, you'll need to clear 5 subjects. Let's talk about A and B here. 1 language is compulsory. 1 pre-vocational subject is compulsory. These 2 you have to take. There are groups. There are 3 groups. I think I have OB first. Okay, so vocational. I'm talking to you. I'm supposed to be an expert in NIOS. Look at the condition of the book. It even has a coffee stain on it. I carry it around all over the place. If I'm dealing with children, I really would not want to do anything that is my interpretation. This kind of is my Bible. I'm sorry I'm using that word, but I refer to it all the time. Yesterday, I was asked a question in a group which I could have answered in my dreams. I still opened the book, confirmed, and only then answered. And then I sent them a screenshot. Please do that. Please be responsible. So you have languages here. You have, okay, so page number 4 and 5, you have subjects. Page number 4 and 5. This is group 1, which is languages. I've not put it here. It would just have taken time, and you can all, okay, sorry, you've done that. Okay. So languages, ma'am, we've put it somewhere. You have 23 languages here, but you have to choose 1, compulsory. Then the 3rd group is pre-vocational, 32 to 47. How many is that? 16, I think. There, the pre-vocational subjects. You have to choose 1. Group B basically has 7 subjects, but basically it has 4. EVS, maths, social science, science. Of these 4, you have to choose 2. A very commonly asked question is, do I need to do maths? No, you don't need to do maths. You have to choose 2 of those 4 subjects. So English, let's say you chose English. Pre-vocational at levels A and B, our favorites are art and craft. We don't, at our center, we don't just, we do mandala. Mandala is a modality that I've used extensively over the years for my daughter and for other students also. It brings in concentration very beautifully. It's practically OT on paper. Okay, so at levels A and B at our center, we use art and craft as the pre-vocational center subject. So you're primarily doing 3 subjects, English, whatever you want to choose. So out of EVS, science, social science, have I closed it? And maths, you choose any 2. You can drop maths. Ma'am, at C level, the science splits, the social science splits into science and social science.
Science and social science.
EVS splits into social science and science. Let's not go there. At level C also, you will choose one language. Let's say you chose English. At level C, because the kids have grown up, at our school we offer bakery as pre-vocational. You choose one pre-vocational, you have to. I'll read some of the topics for you. Cutting, tailoring, beauty culture, food processing, toy making, painting, beekeeping, vermicomposting, agriculture. You can choose any of these vocational subjects. You have to choose one of these pre-vocational subjects. We offer bakery. The other two now you left, here you have to take 3 more subjects. This is 5 in level C. Now there, ma'am, the options are EVS, maths, social science, science, computers. No, sorry, I said it wrong. I'll do it again. Maths, social science, science, computers. So you can drop maths. You can drop social science. I usually recommend drop social science. That is tougher. Okay, so secondary, senior secondary, 5 subjects. Here only language is compulsory. The vocational is not compulsory. Please pass on this message. If I got a 1 rupee for, every time I've said this sentence, I'd be a billionaire today. You do not need to choose. Vocational at such secondary, senior secondary is not compulsory, but you're allowed to do it. Okay, so you can do vocational subjects at secondary, senior secondary levels in 2 ways. I really hope everybody is listening to this. Seems to have caused a lot of confusions. At 10th and 12th classes, you are going to be doing 5 subjects. You will get your certification. After you complete 5 subjects, the number of subjects is innumerable. The prospectus I had opened was OBE. This is called, how you Google it is, NIS OBE prospectus. There is another prospectus here, academics, which is also open, which is in a much worse condition. This also has lists of top subjects. You'll choose your subjects from different groups. You've chosen one language. You have to choose 4 more. I can definitely tell you the ones that we really like for the neurodivergent children. Now, if you want to do a vocational subject, you can do it 2 ways. NIS has given you a choice of 3 subjects at 10th level and 4 at 12th level. This has changed recently. There are few subjects, 3 and 4, that you can simply choose while you are studying, while you're filling up the form. It can be one of your 4 subjects. It need not be. Can be one of your 4 subjects, but you have very limited options. But above and beyond this, if you want to do another vocational subject, aapne choose kar liya, you have English. I'll tell you the subjects I recommend. You have English, you have computers, which is called data entry operations. You have home science, which is a very beautiful subject. And you have painting, which is also, a very good subject because it is a practical subject. You're left with a 5th subject here. You're left with 5th. The 5th subject can be any of the academic subjects given, which will be shown to you when you fill up the form. They're also in the prospectus. I would really recommend choose them before you start filling up the form. So the 5th subject can be an academic subject. It can be one of the 3/4 subjects offered to you. It can be it can be one of the vocational subjects offered to you while you're filling up the form. Or you can also go to take a separate admission. That's still allowed. Actually, let's not go there. Let's not confuse. I'll just repeat this once again. At levels A, B, and C, along with the language, a pre-vocational subject is compulsory. At secondary and senior secondary language, the only thing compulsory is a language. You can take 1 minimum and maximum 2 languages. Okay? Because you see, what we've written here is 5 subjects, no? At secondary and senior secondary, you're allowed to take up to 7. But you'll get certification when you finish those 5. So one of your languages can be part of the 5 subjects. But suppose you also want to study Hindi or one of your Tamil or your regional languages, that can also be taken. You need not take the exam for it. So you can take up to 7 subjects. You'll get certification once you finish those 5 subjects. The only compulsory thing here is a language. Vocational will really, really help you. I, as a parent, as a professional, would recommend, please take one of those vocational subjects offered, but it is not compulsory.
Repeat OB level is.
Sir is saying I have confused the OB, so
No.
I'll repeat that
No,
again.
somebody's asking. Repeat.
Somebody's asking, okay. Ma'am, at levels A and B, you are again allowed to take 7 subjects. You will get certification when you clear 4. Okay. At level C, which is 8th, 10th, and 12th, you can take 7 subjects. You will get certificate once you clear 5. That's it. That was the question. Or we can take it later also. Okay. Now, ma'am, we're starting with the OB journey. I would like to keep it, I'll shorten it a bit. I think most of it we've spoken. When you're choosing OB, please remember the study center is going to be your point of contact. You're not going to be going to the regional center. You'll not need to go there at all. So please choose your study center very carefully. All of you, when you were choosing schools for your neurotypical children, didn't you invest a whole lot of time in it? I did. So why aren't we doing it? It's the entire same journey. There's been no difference in the way I've handled both my daughters. So anyway, I'll come to that later. Choose your study center very carefully. Before opening the form, you can directly go to, there's a link here. Sarah's put on all those links. You can directly use that link or simply Google NIS study centers. The form will open. You fill in your location. You'll get a list of study centers. Take down their numbers. Unfortunately, a lot of study centers, NIS is in the process of weeding them out currently. Some of them might be closed. Some of them might be very passive. Some of them, okay, now comes the most important deciding factor. Curriculum. I'll take 3 examples. When I say me, I'm talking about Amrit Masonic School. Okay. AMSS. Let's say AMSS, I'm going to actually take 2 specific names here. We have Amar Jyoti Rehab Center. Okay, ABC. A is us. We have our own curated books for levels A, B, and C. Children will come, we'll give them those books, they'll study them through the year. With our help, they'll come take exams with us. Study Center B is using NCERT books 1 grade lower. So at level A, they're using books for level class 2nd. At level B, they're using books for class 4, not 5. At C, they're using NCERT books for class 6. Class 6 maths has algebra. Class 6 social science has Russian Revolution. They're touching upon it. I really do not want my daughter, I don't think she needs to know about Russian Revolution at that point. I will definitely teach her later. One of the first things I taught my daughter was the Indian map and the world map. A very, quick tip I'm going to give her. Maharashtra. I did not teach her Maharashtra. I taught her Maharashtra, Mumbai. So Maharashtra was going to be a difficult word anyway. Maharashtra, Mumbai was also a difficult word. So, I taught her the capital along with the state. So that was one of the things I taught her earliest, but I did not want her studying Russian Revolution at the age of 14 or 12. So now come to Center C. They're even worse. I'm sorry. I think Sandhya ma'am is listening. She's going to, what I'm saying is what is not politically correct. The exemplar curriculum on the website was not made for children below 14. It was definitely not written for neurodivergent children. Please do not choose a center that uses the curriculum on the website. If Sandhya ma'am were here, she would say it herself. The syllabus is difficult. It was not written for children at all. So OBs, it has 2 parts, It's for children below 14 and it also there's another part which is for people above 14. The curriculum is difficult. So the Center C I'm talking about, they are in Noida. They cater to visually impaired children. For class 3, they use NCERT class 3 books, level A. For level B, they're using NCERT class 5 books. My daughter could not do that curriculum. She would never have cleared NIOS. A lot of people who enter the NIOS system drop out when they look at the curriculum on the website. So the curriculum a center is following will be the biggest deciding factor for you to choose that center.
I think the most important thing to note here is that for OB, the study centers will decide the curriculum. There is no common curriculum for OB levels. Okay. So one center in Bangalore might have a different curriculum The other center in Hyderabad might have a different curriculum, and another center in Hyderabad and Bangalore will have different curriculums. It is possible that all the OBE levels, the study centers can have different curriculums. Okay, but because developing the curriculum is a kind of a difficult task, most people, what they do is they gravitate towards NCERT or they gravitate towards the exemplar curriculum.
Don't choose those centers. In fact, I don't think it's only now we found out that it was no trouble writing those books. We sort of just started typing, but I don't think anybody else we've now found out has self-curated books. Rest of it is quite well explanatory. Whatever center you're choosing, please go to them regularly. If you have children on the spectrum, you already know very well that you simply can't take them to a new place suddenly. You have to acclimatize them. So before the exams, not just before the exams. See, we became a center only this year, and we've been doing OB for 15 years. So this center, which is a very beautiful center in Delhi, Amar Jyoti Rehab Center, we used to go to them so initially we would go every month. They had their own books. We didn't have an option. We had to follow those books. But the teacher was teaching differently. For example, level C, science book. There are 15 chapters in the NCERT book. The first year, after having studied those 15 chapters, we found out that the study center which we had chosen, they had taught only 12 chapters. If the teacher has taught 12 chapters, he'll be setting the question paper from 12 chapters. And the extra chapters we'd done were magnetism and electricity. I'm telling you a personal experience. So go to the study center regularly. If the teacher is not amenable, anyway, you have to one way or another. We initially what we'd done was we'd made friends with one of the mothers. We stood at the gate, made friends with one of the mothers, and she would send the classwork to us. One way or another, get the work that the teacher is teaching, because she'll be setting questions from only that work. Now, ma'am, NIS, the head office has become so proactive that most study centers now will give you this information voluntarily also. But one way or another, you need to know what the study center is teaching, because that will be the basis for the question papers they will set, and your children will be taking the same question papers that the study center sets. Discuss provisions for relaxations with them well in advance, because like I said, you're going to be submitting your applications for provisions to the study center, not the regional center. Okay, these are the main points here. Take some of the formative assessments. What I mean is, if they have a midterm exam, they might not let you take it along with them. But once they're done with their midterm exam, please take the question papers and take those exams. We teachers know. That's what our teachers did. The questions that came in terminals often came in finals also, no? That's all I'm saying. Follow how you studied. But stay in touch with them. Admission ho gaya, don't forget them. Don't think that, at the end of the exam, you've taken the books and you'll go the day the exam happens. Go every month. We used to go for the first 7-8 months, we would go once a month. In the last month, we used to go every week. Why? The revision she's doing, the chances are the revisions will be in the final paper, no? So at times my parents would tell me, how are you able to, my own parents would say, how are you able to predict the question papers? Because I was taking the revision sheets that the teacher was doing the last 1 month. So do that, stay in touch. Just follow what you did yourself. Ma'am, because ma'am asked me to, so I'm touching upon art.
Just one.
Yes, sorry.
See, the thing is that now with most study centers in India, across India that we've come across, they are not they are not special schools, or they are not rehab centers. Most of them are normal schools. Most of them are normal schools, right? So you will have very few SAID centers across the country. So everybody choosing them as a center will have trouble in navigating the curriculum, because the curriculum one would be different, and the staff would because they are not exposed to special children, they would not know how to handle, and they would not know what kind of problems or what kind of facilities are required, right? So I think it makes absolute sense that if you choose a study center, before you choose a study center, make sure you visit them once, talk to them, understand what facilities are being given, explain the condition of your child to them, and then come to an understanding or an agreement as to what would be the way forward, and choose the most amenable study center. Okay. So most people would say, this is the study center that is allotted to me. Some people would choose study center based because it is next to my house, it is next to my, it is very close. I don't have to travel far. My child can't travel far. That is that
Don't do
should
that.
not be the criteria for selecting a study center, because during exams and other help that you might receive, you probably will not get.
See, if a child is on the spectrum, especially, what if there is some sensory overload on the day of the exam? If you've chosen a special school, they will know they need to close the blinds. Too much of light should not be coming in. There should not be too much of noise. See, we are talking from our experience, from the issues that people send to us. So there are no SATE centers in OB, but you can choose a special school as a study center. At secondary and senior secondary level, you will get a separate list of SATE centers. Okay, very few actually. So our OB program, now here, this is our interpretation of the OB program. OB program is very beautiful. It has entirely been allotted to the study center. The study center was by NIS given a lot of leverage to handle it whatever way they wanted to. But I think because of a lack of enterprise. Now, if I'd been doing this webinar 7 to 8 months earlier, I wouldn't have said this. Now I've realized because of a lack of enterprise, a lot of facilities offered by NIOS are not used. So what we're doing is we're using them to the hilt. That's all I'm saying. Everything they offer, we've grabbed. That's it. That's all we've done. So our program, okay, is the whole thing showing? Okay. Learning modes, online, offline. Very simply. When you take admission, if you choose a study center, you can only choose a study center which caters to your correspondence address. You'll be giving an ID proof and a proof of residence. Let's say you put in your Aadhaar card. If your Aadhaar card says Pune, you have to choose a center in Pune, not for OB. OB, if I admit you from my dashboard, AMS's dashboard, then all I have to say is this guy is my student. He could be anywhere in India. This is something that is there in the website. This is there in the prospectus. We are greedy people. We use this. A lot of people don't. So online, offline, learning material self-curated. I'll show you the books. I'll show you some samples of the chapters also. We've taken the topics from the exemplar curriculum, what we are supposed to be choosing. We follow the National Curriculum Framework of India, but we've written things that what we teach at our school. Monthly, okay, I think very briefly do it. Let's not do the slides. Admission will start in April. So without any late fees, the admission actually finishes at 31st July. But with nominal late fee, it continues to 15 September. The OB program anywhere in India is a 7-month program. Only 7 months, July to January, let's say February. You can say 6 to 7 months because the exams have to be conducted in February. Okay, so let's say you join us in April. We'll give you a set of books, which are books as well as workbooks. So most of my books have 6 to 7 chapters only. We give you monthly breakup for all the 4 subjects. Okay, it's here. This is a life cycle. So I said before I get to the screen, I'll explain. So April to June, you take admissions. The first one here. We will help you with admission assistance. We will have to help you. If you're taking admission from any other place but NCR, you will have to take our help. We will have to admit you from our dashboard. Then we dispatch the study material by courier, which has textbooks as well as workbooks. And we form a WhatsApp group. This is what we did this year. I'm telling you again, we are just 1 year old. These are first exams. But these are not our first exams. I'll tell you why. Nowhere in the prospectus it says that you have to take your full syllabus has to be taken in the final year. So, okay, let's do this. July to September, we have semester 1. Half the syllabus is covered. The beginning of every month, so you have a workbook which will have, so every chapter will have book back exercises like in CBSE. The workbook will have 1 worksheet at least for every chapter. You already have the worksheets. Every month we will then do 5 to 6 doubt clearing classes. The model here is teach the trainer. Okay, so the parents join us in the evening, whereby I basically tell them how I would teach it. As simple as that. All the mistakes I made, all the modalities I used. Recorded sessions sent to parents. Now, just 5-6 classes a month, which children are most welcome to join. They usually do. But it's at a faster pace. It is more, I will not be taking one topic at a time. It's doubt clearing classes. October, we have our midterm exams. in which we will cover half the syllabus. Okay, this half syllabus will not come in the Feb exam. Why? As far as I am concerned, levels A and B have one purpose and one purpose only: confidence building. We do not need the third and fifth certification. All I personally wanted was, you have a book, you have a bag which has books in it. You study in a particular class. Gain that confidence. That's it. So, and NIS also says at several instances, what they want is testing of knowledge, not the expression of knowledge. So at OBE levels or at secondary, senior secondary levels, one word answers are allowed. For a 1 mark question, they want 1 keyword. For a 2 mark question, they want 3 keywords. Tell us you know. Don't tell us, the how doesn't matter. Your spellings are wrong, your sentence formation is wrong, that's perfectly fine. We'd much rather it was right. But if it is wrong, the other day somebody for circus wrote circle. The question was, where did the tiger come from? The answer was circle. So I spoke to this child. Can you explain circle to me? And she explained a circus to me, which is good enough for me. I gave her full marks. Okay, that's what NIS says. I'm not doing this. NIS says that. So in October, you have midterm exams for half the syllabus. Then we start the second semester, where we study the remaining half syllabus. We again have the monthly doubt clearing classes. In February, we have the exam that is now starting, which will only be testing you for the second semester syllabus. This again is not my interpretation. This again is something that NIS lets you do. Like I said, we were very greedy. We grabbed all the provisions they were giving. For some reason, most people don't. बहुत नीचे आ गए थे. Do I need to go up? Which slide is this? I'm sorry. He simply came to this slide, so I don't know. We already done this?
So I think one more important point to note is that, right, see, because we were going to a different study center for a long time to give for our students to take the exams, we also understood what was lacking and what would be a better way of doing. See, I think from a normal student point of view, I think all these it was okay. They get admission to NIOS, they select a study center, and then the only time they will ever go to the study center is to give the exam. Right? That is how a study center is expected to function. There is absolutely no interaction by design so far. Is that there is absolutely no interaction between the study center and the student, right? And if at all any information has to be obtained, it is entirely up to the student to be able to reach out to the study center and
Ask them.
obtain the relevant information. So we have seen all these problems around it, and that is why our program is in turn solving a lot of this problem for a lot of people. Okay, so there is more proactive communication. In fact, none of the study centers, if you see in NIOS, they will not even talk about having classes. There is no doubt clearing sessions, nothing, right?
There's a senior gentleman in NIS who tells me, iske paas bahut time hai. She has a lot of spare time on her hands. And he knows that I sleep every day at 4. So these classes, they're not at all mandatory. The study material is not mandatory. But yes, I think that is how it should be done. If you're studying for a neurotypical child, don't you make friends with her classmates' parents? That's also a normal experience, no? That also should happen. So the WhatsApp groups we have right now, they're communities. Parents from across India are coming together because the style of teaching in Delhi is very different from the style of teaching in Chennai. We're learning from you people. We're learning from the parents in Mumbai, from Pune. So we're learning from each other. If you see those groups, I don't put in anything. All the parents are always putting in. This is how we taught. We're all learning from each other. There's a group of parents together. I'm one of those parents. So establish communities. Okay, so ma'am, I think I'm kind of done. Okay.
Oh, I think another important.
No.
We should talk about the curriculum.
Hanji, abhi aa rahe. It's not going down. This we've done. These are the books.
And we are the only study center, I think, so far gives books. We've made our own books. Actually, ma'am has written all the books herself.
No, we didn't know this was true. We realized it only when we sort of became, pan-India. Differentiators, ma'am, are differentiators. Okay, I'll take just 1 minute here. There's something called UDL. If you're going to be opening the prospectus, please read upon something called UDL also. Universal Design of Learning. This is something NEP is also recommending. This is something we've been doing for years. It basically says, that Like we're setting up question papers now. Exams are starting. We're supposed to be setting 3 sets of question papers, no? A, B, and C. I have 28 set of question papers because within a class, there are, children studying differently. So they should be differentiated question papers for all of them. I'll give you a very small example. I was teaching adolescents yesterday for 10th standard students. We have a student from Dubai. Trust me, that 14-year-old is very, very different from a 14-year-old in where is Jude? Bangalore. So how can I send the same notes to both of them? And a 16-year-old person here in NCR will be far ahead. I think they are a lot more socially manipulative, I'd say, than a 15-year-old in Bangalore. So yes, you people are, I think, better than us. And that's what I feel. So differentiated seats went out to them. That's what we're doing in our school. So this is what we're talking about. MSS differentiators. Curriculum representation is different. Student engagement is different. How they are engaging with the curriculum. These are the principles of UDL, ma'am. You don't need to know. This is not a very important slide. But this is something we follow. The curriculum is the same. It can be represented differently. The students, they are all doing the same chapter, but one of them can do it through a project and the other one can do it, in a written form. They can engage with it differently. Assessment can be very, very different. It has to be different for our students. Several of our students this time will be writing on the computer. Because they're not legible, I have 2 options. The mother can come and write the exam, or this guy can type. Which one would you take? I'll take the computer any day. By the way, the parents in our school don't know there's a provision of scribe. If they find out, they'll be very unhappy with me. Nobody in my school knows that they're allowed to, scribe for their students. Ma'am, this is how we represent the curriculum. There's a gradual augmentation of curriculum. I'd like to show you an example of this. When you and I studied, 6th, 7th was preparing us for 10th. That is what we'd like to do for our students also. There's an example. So self-curated material. I'll just show you an example of this. Ma'am, this is computers. It is called basic computers at levels A, B, and C. And the subject is called data entry operations. It's secondary. I think look at the lower portion. At A level, the book has definition of input and output. In secondary also the same, the first page is the same. The definition is the same till secondary. At level B, we will also put in definition of 2 input and output devices. Just 2. At level C, they will still have the definition. They will have examples. A little augmentation will happen. This definition will be in the secondary book. This will be the same. This will be the same. The definitions will not change. Some more stuff will keep getting added. That is what CBSE does. You look at the index of the books from 1st to 5th class. Index is identical. The content keeps increasing. That's what we're trying to do here. This is just one example I've given you. This is what happens in all the books. At level B, various topics we'll talk about.
Another thing is that, so augmentation is that the augmentation has to come to a inflection point. There has to be a stopping point. The stopping point for us is the secondary curriculum. So all the topics that come out from the 10th standard books, from the secondary curriculum, those are the ones, we've taken small parts of it and put it in level B and put parts of it in level C.
This is our biggest differentiator here. I've been told on good authority. I don't know why nobody thought of this idea. At level C, see, while we were doing with the other study center, we never used to do C. We would go, okay, you do not need prior certification. I think I missed that part. Till secondary, you do not need any prior certification. You can simply write on the paper. This 80-year-old gentleman, he did not have any prior certification. You can simply give a self-affirmation that I think I can study. It's only at senior secondary level that you need a 10th certificate. Till 10th, you don't need any. So we never used to do level C because level C was very difficult. I did not want my children studying magnetism and electricity at level C point, and this was only the 6th standard curriculum. There are several study centers who actually use the 8th standard curriculum. What we decided to do was at level C, we do 40% of the secondary curriculum. So the chapter that you see here is a level C English. This is a chapter from the secondary NIS book. In the secondary English book, 10th standard NIS book, the second chapter is how the squirrel got its stripes. So in 10th, I can show you, in 10th, the representation is slightly more elaborate. So for level C, we're not doing 8th standard curriculum. At our center, we're doing 10th standard curriculum in a very small part. I'll give you one example. In home science, introduction to resources, there's a module, beautiful module. Within that module, you will have a space management, you will have time management, you will have money management. The first chapter is resource management. What we do is we take the resource management chapter at level C. So by the time the child goes to class 10th, he has heard some of the words about resource management. You know, time is a resource. It's a very valuable resource. It is a resource that cannot be transferred to somebody else. Money is a valuable resource, but can be transferred to others. So that's what we're doing at level C. We're doing some 40% of the standard 10th curriculum. That's why at level C, we do not offer the usual subjects. Of course, when you get the certificate, it will say social science and science. But what we're teaching is, instead of science, we're teaching home science. Instead of social science, we're teaching painting. Because painting at 10th level is actually history of painting. They're not teaching you how to paint. They're telling you what is the kind of paintings that Indus Valley civilization happened. We had. What are the paintings that 18th century had? So this is the biggest differentiator we're doing, and this is one of the chapters I've put in. So the chapter
by
is
the
a
time-
visual.
So by the time the child comes to secondary, he would have already spent 4 to 5 years preparing for that.
No, I'd say about 2 years. In level C, we would not want anybody to go beyond 2 years. So
Yeah, no?
there's another thing, ma'am, here. Children who are 12 or 13 years old, who can't join secondary yet because they've not attained the minimum age, 14 years. At level C itself, what they're preparing is for 10th. Ma'am, 10th used to be when our students, when my daughter went to 10th, it was a paradigm shift. It was a jolt for me. That is when I decided it was some way that this jolt could be taken off. The solution we found was we started skipping level C and we started teaching secondary earlier. And so when we had the option, that when we actually were given the legal option to do something about it, so our students now join level C, they get a certificate of C, but they're studying senior secondary, they're studying secondary curriculum. Subject mapping, just done. Science is mapped to home science, social science is mapped to painting, basic computers is basic computers, English is English. In English, we're doing 6 chapters from, so you have bakery is, no,
Sorry.
yeah, bakery is the vocational subject we offer. In bakery also, we do 2 chapters of home science only. So you have a very beautiful chapter in home science, methods of cooking, which we do in bakery. So that chapter also basically covers home science. As you see, there's a summary here. The same summary is done for the same chapter can be used. Level C books can be used to study secondary also. Ma'am, I think this is one of my examples from level B. I've used Akam's name only. This is human body. This is how we will tackle human body. It's visual. The slide code would let me put in only this much, but the chapter is very easily doable. At least I think so. The books have been written the way I would have taught Akam. You don't need to do this. We need to do this? No, ma'am. Actually, the thank you slide has gone farther down. This is thank you from me. We can definitely take questions now. I always do that. I talk a lot and I always overshoot the time. Did this presentation make sense?
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's like a dream come true that I'm seeing. Okay, whatever we have ever thought of in terms of accommodations, especially the curriculum or the curated books that you have given, and it makes very thoughtful in making the differentiators in the evaluation. Because I don't want to name the center. We have centers here who are expecting an oral examination from a non-verbal
Can you
children.
give me just 1 minute? Joshua sir is saying Sandhya ma'am is here. Ma'am, are you here?
Wow. Okay.
That would be
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
She
Yes,
really
yes,
is
I'm
awesome.
here.
Ma'am, put on the
I
video
did
for a
hear your
minute, please.
presentation.
Great.
Acha, nahi.
Thank you
So
so
I
much.
would just like to thank
Okay.
her. She's our guardian angel. She's the one who's made everything possible. She's the one
Thank
who
you, Jaspreet.
told me NIS was doable. Did
And
I
you've
say
done it
anything wrong, ma'am?
wonderfully.
अगर कुछ भी गलत बोला हो तो please correct कर दो.
I would have intervened at that point.
Yes,
You
I know
did
you
not.
would have. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Wonderful presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Mali, go on.
Every single factor you have considered, you have like very thoughtful and made it as you have mentioned in our conversation, this you made the journey as beautiful as possible and less stressful as possible for both parents and the children and as a family all together.
Thank
And
you.
I'm definitely glad that you've become a teacher and a neurodivergent parent rather than become a doctor. We are all blessed to have you,
Thank you, ma'am.
right? The entire community is blessed to have you. Thank you,
Wonderful.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes. People
Questions?
for questions, yes.
You have questions?
I've answered some of them. If this is
So Joshua sir is saying he's been answering simultaneously. Anything else at all, ma'am?
Ma'am, this is Divya from Bangalore. I think I'd spoken to you quite some time ago, but yeah, in between we got caught with the other things, so I was not able to actually keep in touch with you. I just had one question regarding your virtual school, ma'am. Will there be kind of regular classes, online classes, if we enroll to virtual school?
Ma'am, I think I sort of answered that. For OBE levels, the program we are offering, we send you the books and it's just 5-6 classes a month, which are
Okay.
doubt clearing classes, whereby we hold the classes in the evening so that parents can join. And we explain, how basically we explain the chapter to them. At secondary and senior secondary level, ma'am, we have regular classes every day. There we have students, like I said, we have students from Dubai and London and US. It's all over India. We have this very beautiful group from Bangalore. I think Chitra Solomon, you probably know. A lot of
Yes,
students
yeah.
from her school. Yeah. So Pune also. So when secondary and senior secondary is regular, but OBE, it's only a few classes a month.
Okay, it's just that we'll have to choose the center from the city that we are located in for secondary and
That,
senior.
ma'am, I addressed that also earlier. If you
Yeah.
choose it yourself, once you put in your Aadhaar card or any of your IDs, the residential ID, what is it called?
address proof.
Address proof. According to your address proof, you will be given you'll be given a list of choice study centers you can choose from.
I'm aware of
But
that.
if you want to choose us, then if
We
we,
do the admission.
we will have to do the admission, because when we do the admission from the center dashboard, then we don't need to upload any of this. Despite your Aadhaar card saying that it's from Bangalore, we'll still upload your Aadhaar card. All your documents will still go. Despite your Aadhaar card, you'll be able to choose us, even though we're in
For
Noida.
secondary also.
No, ma'am. No, not secondary, senior secondary. No. There you have to.
We have autonomous. We are autonomous only on the OBE levels,
Yeah.
not for secondary and senior.
Senior secondary.
Sure.
But
Okay.
ma'am, please, I could put you in touch with a lot of parents in Bangalore. It's a very beautiful community we've created, and they are part of the secondary and senior secondary group. So
Okay, ma'am.
there we will cover the entire curriculum. We'll prepare you for your study centers. Also, be in touch with most of them. So the practicals they do, we know. So do the entire gamut. That is regular every day.
Okay, ma'am. I think I'll just get in touch with you separately, ma'am.
Absolutely. I can
Because-
give you the numbers. Get in touch with all the parents in Bangalore, ma'am. That'll be better. They'll be able to explain much better.
Yeah, ma'am. I think I would want to get in touch with you because I would like to share my experience as well, because I've been going
Sure.
ahead with
Absolutely. We can do that later. Sure, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So there is a question here just now.
She's moderating, or should I moderate? So I think Mr. Ashish Sinha, I think he is raised hand.
How much is the cost involved? Sir,
I told the 15 to 20. Okay.
yeah. So, sir, two parts. Secondary, senior, OBE and academic. Sir is saying is already answered. It's in the chat. Okay. So, for secondary, senior secondary, sir, you do the admission, and like I said, for there's subsidies for a female candidate, the value comes down. For disabled candidate, further comes down. But whether neurotypical or neurodivergent, the fees that you pay to NIOS, it amounts to between 2022 se niche kabhi nahi aaya. No, there was 1700. So 1700 to let's say 3000. Yeah. So our schools are at OBE levels, 350, 550, 850 is what goes to NIOS. For AMSS, there's a one-time down payment at the beginning. We're both volunteers. We don't decide that money. Last year it was 10,000. I think I can say it right here. It's a one-time payment, which includes the books, the classes, the exams, the certificates, everything.
Thank you, Jaspreet ji. That was a very nice presentation. One question what I wanted to ask is if the kid is non-verbal, right? And if he's not using assisted assistance also like any means of communication, then what is the suggestion out there? He knows to communicate. We know that he learns, but what is the suggestion out there?
Is he able to write, sir?
No. He will move
No,
around.
okay. So two things. He's not writing because his body is not letting him settle now. He's physically incapable of it, or he's not writing because he's not comprehending and can't say the answer. Which of these two?
First one, physically he's not able to.
If he's comprehending, perfect, sir. You can use computers, you can use Avaz, whatever AC you're using. NIS lets you use any of them. Of course, the mother can become a scribe and write instead of him, which I will never recommend to anybody. Yes, do it at the secondary and senior secondary level. We need the certification. But sir, बहुत simple है. बैसाखी की आदत डाल दोगे तो चलना भूल जाएंगे. But yes, initially there's so many provisions allowed. Is 10K for all 3 levels of OB? Yes, ma'am. I'm just looking at the questions that are coming here. It's all 3 levels, ma'am. And it includes, like I said, the entire thing. Questions?
Jaspreet ma'am, there are some questions still in the doc. Shall I open that?
Yes, please, ma'am. Yes, please. That's what sir was asking. Are you moderating or should he?
Yes, I'll do that.
आप कीजिए, जी.
On your screen and share it, or shall I read the questions?
You could read any which way.
Okay. Most of them, I think the first 7-8 questions are all answered already. So the 9th question is NIS considered valid to apply for college degree anywhere in India?
Ma'am, that was my third slide.
Okay.
Not only prospectus, from my experience, I'm telling you, it's accepted everywhere, all over the world, not just in India, colleges all over the world.
Okay. And oral questions in OBA exams. So some centers have this. So how do minimally speaking or non-speaking
I
students?
saw that question. I don't know. Please report that center to the regional center. All regional centers are very, very open to, So please, any center causing any trouble, without naming, and if you go and report it to them, they're not going to name you or anything. Please go tell any malpractice that might be happening. Oral questions are not mandatory at all, ma'am. Of course, we have physically disabled children. We have a student who's neck down paralyzed, comes from, pretty far off. He gives oral answers. That's his mode of choice. It is not a compulsion. It cannot be made mandatory. You can answer any which way, as simple as that. You can use, like I said, we have a student using Avaz. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. Parents on the spectrum will know. So he answers through the AAC. As long as, isn't it eminently more preferable to his mother writing his test for him? So any which way. Yes, ma'am. What else?
So Dola asks the procedure for application for access arrangements in NIS secondary and senior secondary for candidates with dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, ADHD. What are the access arrangements NIS provides? Is there a handbook for the same, just like Cambridge has a handbook which lists out all the access arrangements they provide?
NIS is better than that. It's on the prospectus. Sir has given you a link also. You can simply Google NIS provisions. Disability provisions?
In exam relaxation.
Exam relaxations. We've put it in the slide also. There's a complete unit about it in the prospectus, explains it in very great detail. But yes, for SLD, they described all the portions of SLD. You definitely get a scribe. In fact, let's not go there. You definitely get a scribe. You get all the provisions for SLD. We've been taking them every year. Ma'am, SLD is learning disability, so all the dyslexia, dyscalculia, described are a part of that.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. The next question is, what should parents do if the study centers deny the use of AAC or letterboards for non-speaking students in exams, OBA exams? Does the study center have the final say in OBA exams?
Absolutely. The study center has the final say in OB. That is why I said, before you choose a study center, please talk to them in great detail beforehand. Because once you've taken admissions, once you've studied with them, at the end of it, they say, sir, my experience, ma'am, is regional centers will not interfere too much. They really do not have too much of leeway over us. See, like I know now, we're doing a lot of what I'm doing right now. I don't know, is my interpretation of it. But what I'm doing is good, thankfully. But if I was doing something wrong, the regional center, but please do put in a point. If there's a major, major hindrance happening, please do tell your study center. Whereas in secondary and senior secondary, they don't have much rule at all. Everything is cut and dried. It's, black and white. They follow rules. So, but there also, if you face a problem, please go to the regional centers. Regional centers, all the ones that I have interacted with, Bangalore, Pune, at least my experiences, they're very open to suggestions.
Sure, ma'am. So there's another question. If I cannot, can I get the class 5 books, NIS 5th grade books without applying for the exams?
Absolutely, ma'am. Could we speak to you separately? It will, if it makes sense to you, if you can really, if it helps you, of course you can. But if you're taking the books, why not take the exams also? Actually, see, okay, I think where this question is coming from, let me address it. Till about my daughter joined a mainstream school, no? Very important for me. I could not tell society that she was a special person. I could not tell society she was going to a special school. We've all done that, no? She had to go to a mainstream school. Meri izzat ka sawal tha. We've all done that, haven't we? But at 5th standard, every school will start saying, problems will starting. At 7th, every single school will take an undertaking. Nobody will let you go beyond 8th. This I'm talking about a general cycle. So, ma'am, a lot of students enrolled with us are of parents who are still stuck, who have still not come to the realization that a mainstream school is actually harming them. That inclusion is only, it's not in spirit. There, if you, like I said earlier, so what we do is we've gone to a lot of mainstream schools. Thankfully, a lot of mainstream schools in Noida have accepted our books for the simple reason that it reduces the workload. So you can be enrolled in a mainstream school and in NIOS OB levels simultaneously. You're not enrolled in CBSE, no? If my child in 5th standard is going to DPS, he's going to DPS. He's not really part of CBSE. CBSE boards will happen in 10th. So while studying in that school, you could be a part of the NIS board and you could do it simultaneously because the chances are 99.9% your child will be doing nothing at school. He's probably just getting some worksheets off and on. So let him go there. You really cannot force wakefulness on anybody. And I did all these mistakes. So others are also doing it. So till your school, and there are a lot of children, ma'am, who have very good social quotient, who really need the peer interaction, which they will not get in a special school. So for whatever reason, if you're in a mainstream school, you can join the NIS system and study these books simultaneously. Every school we've been to so far have welcomed our books because our books reduce their work.
Ma'am, I think you answered the next question also. Can a child attend normal school for social interactions and NIS to take the functional academics at the same time?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the next one is, my son has passed 10th from CSC with regular schooling, now giving 12th from NIS. How to prepare him for practical exam for data and for physical education and data entry? Will there be Viva for this?
Very, very simple answer, ma'am. There's something called a PCP, Personal Contact Program. In OBE, your study center is the only point of contact. That's very, very clear. At secondary and senior secondary, the only role of the study center is to conduct something called the PCP and the practical. Okay, there are 5. So for theory as well as for practicals, a study center has to give you help. The personal contact programs for theory are not mandatory at all, neither for the center to organize nor for the students to attend. But the 5 personal contact classes for the practical are mandatory. I think a lot of you would be knowing this. Let me take an example. Data entry operations is a practical subject. Practical is worth 60 marks. It has 2 components. The practical has 2 components, 30 plus 30, formative and summative. The first 30 marks can be attained simply by attending the personal contact program. If you do not attend the personal contact program, you will lose those 30 marks. And then you will be assessed only on the basis of the one practical exam that you give. Data entry operations, practical 60 marks, 2 components, 30 plus 30. The first 30 marks is for the personal contact program that will be organized for your study center, minimum 1, maximum 5 classes. This is not there in the website. There's supposed to be 5 classes, but a lot of study center will do only 1. The objective of personal contact program is to prepare you for the practical. During those 5 practical classes, they will tell you the practicals. NIOS books have a list of 15 to 20 practicals per subject. Every study center will pick 2, 3, 5. They are supposed to prepare you for your practicals during the PCP. The PCP has 2 objectives. One, prepare you for your practical at your study center. The practical at every study center will be different. The 2 objectives of the PCP are, one, they will prepare you for the practical, and secondly, you will get marks for attending. I'll take another example, painting. Practical, 70 marks. 35 plus 35. You need 33 marks to pass in NIOS. I will not, okay, this one portion I'm leaving be. 35 marks. You attend the PCP. Let's say you scored 31, 32, 33. You've cleared the subject. After that, if you simply go and sign on the practical day, you have to attend, of course, and you go and sign on the theory day, you still pass. So whoever asks these questions, please at the earliest go to your study center. The last date for the finishing of practicals, PCPs this year is 10th March. The PCPs are happening all over India. Please go to your study center, ask for the PCP schedule, attend them. That will prepare you for practicals. Because I really cannot help you there. My study center's practicals will be different from your study center's practicals. Only study center can help you. Next, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So this is for senior secondary exams. If computer accommodation is opted, can we also get accommodation for prompter in case the child is ADHD?
Yes, ma'am. Double accommodations are allowed. Trust me. I'm telling you what happens at the ground level. You put in the application. You can factually ask for both the things. You might not get it. It does happen. This is definitely happening at regional centers. Interpretation of provisions might vary slightly, but on a factual level, yes, it's doable. You can do this. And our center lets us do it. The Delhi Regional Center has been given us double provisions.
No, it is there. It is a provision that is available. You can take as many relaxations as you want. That is not a problem.
We always take scribe and extra time together. Because the parents who take recommendations from us, my recommendation always is, initially, please let the child go in for the first 1.5 hours. Let him make all the blunders he can, but let him gain the self-confidence. And if you, in the last half an hour, 45 minutes, you can go in and then help. So we take provisions for scribe and extra time together all the time.
But you will need
different scribes for different subjects. I'm sure that question will also come up. It need not be one scribe for all subjects.
You also will need to have the disability certificate to avail these provisions.
Yeah, that is a must. Uske bina nahi milega. That is the basic must. Yes, ma'am. Next.
The last question, ma'am. For a child opting for a reader-writer in theory exam for 10th and 12th, has to write the practical exam by himself. Can the accommodation for writing and or typing on computer be extended for practicals also?
It has been extended since last year, ma'am. This won't be the first year. Since last year, you're allowed to take a scribe or any of the provisions during the practical exam also. The notification was there. It was permanent. Of course, let me tell the process also. Once your practical hall ticket comes, only then you can go and apply. So what you need for the application is, of course, the form that you will fill for the provision, your disability certificate / UDID card, and your hall ticket. So the provision can be applied for only after the hall ticket has been issued. So after the practical hall ticket, go for the practical provisions. Then when the theory hall ticket is issued later, then you can go for the theory provisions.
Sure. I think one question was missed. It was what are the future paths for children who go through exams after senior secondary? What do they do?
I couldn't hear you at all.
After senior secondary, what?
After senior secondary, what is the path ahead for students?
That's a very long topic, ma'am, that we can discuss separately. But yes, I'll tell you what our students are doing. They're joining Delhi University. They're joining Amity University. My daughter currently, for 1 year at least, is going to be a teacher's assistant at my school itself. She's teaching home science. There's several ways forward. Innumerable ways forward. But yes, the solutions here are individual. Your social strata, your family. See,
Child's ability.
child's ability to an extent. I would actually say it's child's ability to an extent. The logo of a school is every child can learn. I've made it. If the child is not learning, you're wrong. You're teaching the wrong thing, you're teaching it wrongly. Every child will learn, they want to learn. So, for example, we had this family where it's a whole family of doctors. So, they are doing a course in D-Pharma. Of course, they take admission and we have to adapt the syllabus. Ma'am, there are special needs students in IIM Calcutta, IIM Ahmedabad also. Of course, you have to modify the curriculum, but they're able to. Delhi University Physics Honors, so many of our students have taken it. But of course, they go there. They go there, they sit in the classes, as long as they have the adapted sheets with them. So that is a prerequisite. You have to adapt the curriculum for them. But if you do that part, they're able to navigate any system. Any system.
Yeah, that's very encouraging, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Practical. Everything I said today is something I've done. There was none of those were my interpretations of anything.
Jasprit ma'am, if you could also, some parents have asked for contact details of the school. So if it's slides,
Ma'am,
right?
yeah, please write to me anytime at all. I'll
Yeah.
answer probably at 4 in the night, but I'll definitely answer.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
All
I
done,
think that's
ma'am.
all the
There was
questions
even
we have.
somebody-
Question. There are people asking about questions about community. Sorry, I'm not quite sure I understand. What do you mean by community? The people asking about communities in Bangalore and communities in Pune and Bombay.
WhatsApp
So-
groups.
So
Yeah.
if somebody could just
So at
clarify
least on my side, at least what we were asking is if we can connect with parents who are there in Pune or different places
Absolutely, sir.
locally. So
Absolutely.
do you
Just
have
write-
like, okay, so where we can write to you guys?
I can forward some numbers to you. They're
Okay.
groups specifically also, but I will forward you the numbers who I have who I've dealt with and who are very proactive and very helpful. They're my kind of people. There's
Okay.
several groups, but do write to me. I'll Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai. These places, at least we can put you in touch with
we
people.
don't have.
Well,
What's the email, ma'am?
I would just one request, please. So we are going to start our exam. So I think if it's not too urgent, I would request you all to please reach out after 1st of March.
We didn't sleep last night at all. So it's that bad right now. So, so just give us a little time, but you drop a WhatsApp message to me and
Yes.
forward the number to you.
I've put the phone numbers in the chat.
Why make it
So
difficult?
I've put it 2-3 times, so you can just refer the chat.
Friends, to an extent, I'll tell you, the regional center is in Pune. There's no regional center in Mumbai. There's this lady in Pune who actually, people from Mumbai courier documents to her and she takes them to the regional center for submission. So very, very wonderful people. We have communities. By community, I simply mean we are friends. Done, ma'am?
We will get in touch with you, ma'am, in March maybe, because you have some more time to share
Just start dropping messages as and when we have time. I'll start forwarding numbers to you. And I'm quite,
Sure.
trust me, if you tell them, Jasprit ma'am has asked me to speak to you, unko pata hai kya hai. Oh, I keep imposing on everybody all the time. They'll help you definitely.
Yeah.
Done, ma'am?
Thank you so much, both of you, Jasprit ma'am and Joshua sir, for your time. It's almost 2 hours. Thanks for being so patient and
That's
answering
okay. I
all the
really
questions.
were able to help.
Ma'am, the idea of doing all this is very simple. Okay, so just like with any new endeavor, we came up with an idea. It is path breaking. So now we anticipate and expect more people to come and build on this. We've started the foundation. We've set the ball rolling. Okay, so now ACOM is already 22 years. Now within a few years, I think our priorities are going to change with respect to what we are doing after, like ma'am's question. How do we bring in more avenues into colleges and other stuff, right? So, but this is also an experience for new and young parents of younger children to take this idea and bring in new things and get the ball rolling.
Here, who has a center that has been running for 3 years, please apply to become a center. That is the best way forward. That's also very, very easy. So everything's online.
Sure.
So, ma'am, can we leave now? It was a pleasure talking to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, both of you. So please, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.